Pleasure to welcome Lindeni Hlatshwayo from the University of Pretoria. Lindeni, please note that you have 10 minutes for your presentation. Please introduce yourself. We're looking forward to listening to you.
Thank you, Anki. Good morning, everyone. As introduced by Anki, my name is Lindeni and I'm presenting on empathy mapping in course evaluation design. I will quickly share my presentation with you. So it's taking a moment. Okay, so every semester students assess their courses using carefully selected evaluation questions. And these questions are usually tailored in such a way that they help the designers or instructors to achieve course development plans. And often we see questions that are concentrated on instructor effectiveness, their ability to solve problems, their level of knowledge and delivery. This often shifts the purpose of the evaluation from course development to instructor development, which on its own is very much needed. So I think all of us here have felt like we are rating the lecturer or instructor, so to speak, when participating in course evaluation. And we do not want to leave students with that feeling. Instead, we want them to feel part of a very significant process that makes the course even better. So in this session, we'll look at how empathy mapping can be used to design course evaluation questions and how course evaluation can be placed in segments throughout the course to gather meaningful feedback from students. Then we will wrap up the session together. So, course evaluation is a mechanism through which we can improve our teaching. We usually use it to achieve course development goals and see the course from the student's perspective and understand the disconnect, if any, between the instructor and student in the course. Because things may be clear as daylight to the instructor, but may appear to be very vague and ambiguous to the student. With that said, we want to make sure that we're asking the right questions at the right time. I assume that some of you here have been involved in course evaluation design at any level. So before we move on with the presentation, I will quickly put up a poll and then we can use it to answer the following questions. So the first question is, do you assess how your course evaluation is designed? Yes or no? That is, do you reflect on whether or not your course evaluation design is effective and helps you gather meaningful feedback enough to help you improve the course or training, whatever the case may be, depending on your context? I'm getting very nice responses here. It seems like a lot of people assess how their course evaluation is designed, so that's very good. Okay, and there's only a few people who do not engage in this process of assessing how their course evaluation is designed. Okay, the next question is, how often, let me just end the poll. The next question is, how often do you assess how your course evaluation is designed? So it's a multiple choice question. Taki, can you try that again? So how often do you assess how your course evaluation is designed? We figured that a lot of people, a significant amount of people assess how their course evaluation is designed. Now the next question is, how often do you assess how your course evaluation is designed? Thanks, Becky. I'm getting very nice responses in the second option, twice a year. Ooh, okay. So it seems like once a year is leading at this point. Okay, so I see a lot of people assess their course evaluation and how it's designed once a year. Oh, okay, it's actually a tie between once a year and twice a year. And we've got one response in the third option, never. Okay, we'll just move on with the presentation. Thank you for participating. So it's clear that evaluation is a significant part of course development. So we need to think about what motivates the questions that we ask in course evaluation and whether those motivators help us achieve course development plans. And I see there's space and room for empathy mapping in course evaluation design. So what is an empathy map? So it's a visualization tool that is used to articulate what development teams know about the user. It has 4 quadrants with the user or the client in the middle. I don't know if you can see my cursor. And it assists development teams to figure out what the user is saying, thinking, feeling, and doing as they interact with the product. So, like I said, it has its beginnings in product development. In this case, the user is the student and the product is the course or module. So you see the 4 quadrants: says, thinks, does, and feels. So I want us to look at 3 elements of the empathy map that stand out for me. And these are the elements that we can make use of as we structure course evaluation questions: thinking, feeling, and doing. So as the student interacts or engages with in the teaching and learning experience in your course or module, what are they thinking, what are they feeling, and what are they doing? Now, if you want to be specific like that and ask those type of questions as guided by these elements of empathy mapping, we cannot ask these questions at the end of the semester or when the course ends. So we might want to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak, and while the experience is fresh in the student's mind. And that is where the idea about or of placement comes in. How can we structure course evaluation so that it's ongoing throughout the course and not just one form that students fill in at the end of the semester? And there's another thing to consider. What if we packaged course evaluation as ongoing reflective activities throughout the course? Because placement is very crucial. So the problem is, or the issue is, at the end of the course, the student is likely disengaged. They are done. They don't want to participate in this course anymore. And so even their experience is not fresh. They're totally zoned out. If the student's experience is fresh, then we can get great feedback. So if we can consider these 3 elements of empathy mapping: thinking, feeling, and doing, as we design course evaluation and find ways to present course evaluation as ongoing reflective activities, we can gather useful feedback from students, and that could help us reach our course, program, or module development goals. So you might want to ask, why did I leave out the first element of the quadrant? So the say elements is pretty much, you will see here, this one, the first one. The say element is pretty much the same as the think element. So the student's thoughts are internal, but they can be voiced out. Okay. Questions, comments, thoughts, you can use the chat or the share audio function if you'd like to say something, leave a comment, make a statement. Yeah, whatever you want, you may want to say. You're more than welcome to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Lindeni. I see that Firdaus has a question there. Firdaus, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, or just raising your comment, please?
Sure. I was just wondering if you notice a trend in different courses depending on the length of the course, or considering maybe where you place those opportunities for feedback. So maybe I'm just thinking in our context, before an assessment or after an assessment, or those sorts of things, and also the length of the program.
I would definitely say the frequency of how frequently you give course evaluation or you package it as reflective activities, how often you give out these reflective activities is definitely dependent on the length of your course. For example, for a 7 weeks course, you might want to do it weekly or um, 3 times at minimum. But for a semester long course, you might want to do it, I don't know, shorter than that. I don't know if it makes sense. But for a week's course, you might want to do it more often than you would do it on a longer course or program.
And do the types of questions differ? So say, for example, maybe you want questions on how they're experiencing, for example, if you have something like a social component to your course, do you ask questions at different stages, or different types of questions at different stages? Just curious.
I'll say ask different types of questions at different stages. So at some stage, you might want to find out how they engage with the content, and is the way that the content is presented effective for them to fully comprehend and understand and make meaning out of it. And at some time, you might want to, like you said, test or see whether the social component of the module is working for them. So I'll say at different stages, different questions. Does that answer your question? The other
Yes,
people in
thank
the
you.
chat, you're more than welcome to just um, unmute yourself or use the chat function to maybe add on to what Fidos has asked, or maybe try to answer to answer a question differently. Do we have another question, comment, or thoughts?
It seems as if everyone is just thinking again, Lindeni, at how they are evaluating their courses. And I think that you are right when you say it's really important that we do it. And I really like the fact that you do it from the student perspective also, that you not only look at if your program is pitched on the correct level, but also how do my student experience everything that I'm doing. Thank you everyone for attending this session. If there are no other questions, then I think that we can sign out. Please just remember that we have a Q space at 12:30 for our lunch hour, and then that we have exciting prize giveaways again. There's a Lego competition. There are actually 2 of them. So the one is for the best presentation. Please vote for your best presentation. And then also, if you are interested in a prize for you and 30 of your students, please fill in the other Google form. And then if you want to just partake in the lucky draw like yesterday, then please fill in. So all of these links are in the chat. Thank you for attending this session, and we'll see you in the next session.